Hello, everybody. I'm Elise as Another Truth on YouTube. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope that you're all doing well and taking exceptional care of yourselves. This is an audio only video, so please understand that I will just be doing this through my voice and that I may bring up sensitive topics like mental illness, personality disorders in connection with mental illness, death, suicidal ideation, mean girl behavior, manipulation, bullying, and marginalization. If these topics are very sensitive to you, if this discussion you think will trigger you in any way, please find another video to watch that is more supportive of what you need at this time, wherever you're at right now. And I'll understand. It's not the type of content for everybody. Plus, I might drop an F-bomb here and there, so be forewarned. um, I don't want to make this a long video per se. It's, it bullying of any kind is not to the point. It comes in all different forms. It affects people on so many levels. Where bullying affected me in my younger years, it has a different type of effect now, where I already have things in place, which has built my resilience against certain type of bullying. Now, of course, I will be talking about personal experiences around this, but I do kind of want to give you a brief overview of what bullying and or what manipulation and mean girls is all about. Now, um, I will include a link. This link does have hyperlinks in there that lead to actual research and information that might be useful for you to understand. This is from the Banner Health Hospital Group. They are very instrumental in providing information from professionals and doctors about some of the topics discussed. I've referenced them in the past for some of the things I've discussed around borderline personality disorders, so feel free. It has language that, it's understandable. It breaks it down simply. You could also, and I don't know if I should suggest this, but you could go to Chat GPT AI to be able to get just a definition of that. But if you want to see, because it'll break it down for you, but if you want actual references and studies, try to stick with the doctors or the professionals' definition of it. And yeah, and there will also be some information how to get help if you ever find yourself in such a situation, if anything happens to you. So the general definition of a mean girl, simply put, I mean, it tends to describe people who are younger, especially girls and young women. Now, mind you, it can happen in middle age and so on. I mean, people are bullied well into their adulthood. It doesn't stop. If you think about, uh, famous characters, characters in movies known, you could probably relate to that. But it does happen to adults. And that kind of behavior is usually, it's sourced from a need to take some level of power over another. Sometimes it's based on a lot of insecurity and jealousy because they just want to obliterate what they perceive as their opponents. They don't have a lot of control in their life, so they want to try to take control over others and so on. But going back to the definition of mean girls, um, these young women and girls kind of like indulge in aggressive and hurtful behavior, usually in social settings, but it can also happen in the place of work. It can happen friend circle. It can happen online. It happens online all the time. You see many examples and many horrifying examples If you even read the newspaper about how bullying has come to tragic ends, and how a lot of people, even despite the good support that they have, still can't stop the bullying and the harassment and so on. I mean, there's so many different ranges of it. Um, so the thing with the mean girls, I mean, oftentimes they have to use manipulative tactics to recruit people to be a part of their clique or their gang. They may erroneously label it as an army when they feel like they have been criticized or somebody reported them for bad behavior or whatever, but that doesn't fool anybody. It doesn't matter the noise that they're making. What matters is that a person stands up to that kind of behavior, and they do it by contacting authorities or administrations. Um, they do that by forming supportive circles around them, finding support, doing things that are good for oneself. Like a person who might be targeted for harassment or bullying can do things to make themselves feel better, like maybe go to the gym, do some volunteer work, do some art projects, something that is fulfilling, something that kind of refills um, that energy, that love and zest for life, because I mean, obviously, a bully wants to take that away. A bully doesn't want somebody to feel healed. A bully doesn't want someone. Sometimes they don't even want somebody to exist. That is some of the extremes that they go to. So the mean girls, like, they do target individuals that they might perceive as vulnerable. They know that. Like I said, there are different kinds of leveling and bullying. Bullying and harassment, and kind of leveling that person to a confused mass of what just happened, thinking. And that's the point of that. Sometimes they even admit that that's what they do in certain circumstances. And they do use manipulation tactics. They often lie about their target. They'll spread rumors. They'll make false reports to administration or something to try to get a person in trouble, to try to ruin them. Um, that they will try to control others, um, to get what they want, to get the attention they seek, to get the power that they want. And they do things like lying, playing mind games, um, you know, looking out for vulnerabilities, and casting insults according to those perceived vulnerabilities, even though it might not be a vulnerability to a targeted person, sort of planting in the targeted person that their self-worth isn't something to be valued and that their life isn't something to be cherished. And um, and the ultimate goal in using manipulative tactics like undermining their target is to get that sense of control, so their targets don't are too scared to fight back or say something. And I always say to that, fuck that. Because you as a person who is a target of harassment and bullying, you have a right to set boundaries for yourself. You have a right to say no. You have a right to say, I'm worth it. I'm going to take care of myself. I deserve to exist. I deserve to have a space in public space. I deserve to have a great social life. People don't have the right to try to malign that for me, um, because they are jealous, angry, and they want to control and exert themselves over people. Oftentimes it's fueled by jealousy and anger because their own circumstances are are problematic. It could be they might be facing some challenges themselves. So that's pretty much what these people will do. They will do everything in their power to destroy their target. Um, I'm under the impression it's not the person who's being targeted. It's not that person's responsibility to have any empathy for the people bullying them. Um, I think that's an empathy trap. I'm hyper empathetic. I'm not saying it's functional. I don't think it's functional. I have a level of empathy, but I reserve that for people who are really in trouble. And it's not up to me to be the understanding one. It's not up to me to reserve emotional space in my mind or heart. It's not my responsibility to emotionally react to these kinds of insults and things in a way that appeases my harassers or bullies' morbidly obese egos. Um, there could be many examples that you can relate to or that I can relate to in terms of, you know, keeping self care in mind when these things happen. That's one of the major um, things that is suggested is you take care of yourself through it all. Get the help of people you trust. Sometimes you have to bring in authority. Sometimes you have to file a complaint to administration to stop it. Um, doesn't It doesn't matter what kind of noise the bullies make. They're already deficient in character and strength, integrity, and all of those things. Otherwise, they would not be engaging in this kind of behavior. That is not your problem. That is their problem. They're the ones who embarrass themselves. All that noise doesn't really matter so long as it's not interrupting your life. Now, sometimes the online bullying, as people might know, will bleed into real life. They might use real life examples by doxing and stuff to embarrass people online. And um, and especially in spaces where that's is forbidden, they will do that thinking that they are relatively untouchable. But they do face um, when they do face the music, so to speak, when they do get the criticism, when they are disciplined, um, when you do fight back, they're not going to like it. They're not going to be your friend. You don't want them as your friend. You want them to stay the fuck out of your life. You want them to stay out of your way. Okay, that's how I look at it. I don't give a flying fuck if they have a traumatic past or experience. I'm not going to be run over by any bully. I'm not going to acquiesce to their demands that I leave. I am not going to do things to hurt myself. I am not going to value my life less because somebody told me that my life isn't worth it. These are some of the examples that I experienced on a platform that doesn't have anything to do with social media. It has to do with I don't want to give it away, but it's not social media involved. There is a communication component to it. And a moderator and a number of other people in this engaged in bullying and harassing behavior toward me on the platform using indirect language, so to speak, to tie me in, which is why I could not say anything earlier. I did find an opportunity to say something. And unfortunately, though I don't have any proof, but I am keeping track of things. And that's another thing that you can do is keep track of some correspondence, keep track, screenshot different types of behaviors, because usually if there are logs kept or of any kind, an administration or the police can kind of look back into that to see some of the stuff that's going on. And so, one could do that. I certainly had to do that in my case. But like I said, it happened to me. I had to report it to administration. Administration, I'm sure, had to do some research. Maybe they're still doing some research, but once I reported it, it was out of my hands. And whatever comes from that is out of my control. And I did not set out to cancel anybody, though I think that kind of emotional violence that I experienced on that platform, they should have, but that's not something that I personally wanted to see. And that's something that I expressed because I understand the value of this platform to a lot of people. But at the same time, I should not be made a scapegoat. At the same time, I should not be experiencing harassment. My life should not be disrupted by disgusting behavior by people with lesser minds, with shitty characteristics, with problems that are not my problems. I just don't have the empathy. I don't have that empathy. My empathy goes to people who really deserve it, who really need that help. Pathological mean girl behavior needs to be discussed with a professional. That's something that a person can work through therapy or dialectical behavior training. That's out of the scope of what I can do as a person. All my responsibility is, it's not to step out of the way, it's not to acquiesce, it's not to give up myself or my life, or to feel uncomfortable because they want me to feel uncomfortable. It's my job to enjoy my life, enjoy my existence, appreciate myself for who I am. This is the healthy narcissism I talk about. This isn't the narcissism or seeming narcissism that I see from that I've seen from these mean girls that they probably know well what they're saying and doing. I mean, these people have indirectly, but directly in some ways, suggested that I die, that I take medication for a hair loss I'm not even experiencing. Of course, I'm in middle age, my hair is going to thin out a little bit, but I can't take that kind of medication for it because it will contribute to worse mental health symptoms. And even if I lost all my hair, I lost half my hair, I know hair means a lot. It means a lot to me, but it doesn't fundamentally change who I am as a person. You know what I mean? It's something I have. I love it. And my hair is beautiful. It's long. Sometimes I do it. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I color it. Sometimes the grays grow in. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But the point is, they were trying to shame me for that. They were trying to shame me for existing. They brought in a lot of elements of my personal life into this, stuff that they might have seen on my channel, stuff that they got through my Facebook. I don't know how they figured out who I was, or accessing my Facebook and mentioning things about different things that they see by making indirect commentary every time I participated on this site. And I have every right to participate on this particular platform or this site so long as I don't break the terms of service. Okay? And that's exactly what they were trying to do. But I have fucking news for them. And if they're listening, they shouldn't be listening. I love my life. I value my life. I value my existence. I will not acquiesce. I will not ruin my life for stupidity. I will not ruin my life for anybody. I don't give a fuck if you're going through stuff. I don't give a fuck if one of your friends got in trouble for her bad behavior. I don't care if you face consequences from this. I don't care if, you had a bad day. I don't care if you feel superior. I don't care if you feel younger, you think you're prettier than me. I don't give a shit. I don't value my appearance is my appearance. I value my body. But I'm 50, okay? I do have good skin. I have nice skin because I didn't go out in the sun because I'm agoraphobic. All right. Maybe I do have nice skin, but I'm 50. I look 50. I am 50. I'm glad to be 50. But to be insulted by a bunch of other middle-aged people, and I'm presuming they're middle-aged, um, you know, I don't know, because I don't know them, but from the way that they speak, you would think that they're um, adolescents who are going through some real problems, real stuff. I have more empathy for them than I have empathy for middle-aged shitheads like this trying to ruin my life, although they can't ruin my life. It will always go back to them, because at first I have the facts on my side. I've consulted law enforcement about my rights, what I can do. I'm keeping track of everything. I've had to track some weird phone numbers. I'm not saying it has to do with them, but there's some weird shit going on. There's stuff behind the scenes with YouTube and commentary, but it's not violent or bad. It's just some questionable stuff I have to parse through, and I need a level-headed mind frame to do that. But they were trying to exploit that, my vulnerability, because oftentimes on here, yes, I talk about my mental illness, I talk about my borderline, I talk about my behavior, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't have self-confidence. Doesn't mean I shouldn't stand up for myself. It doesn't mean I shouldn't employ self-care in my life to make sure that I'm making the right healthy decisions for myself so that I can live a fulfilling life, you know? So, and I honestly, I just, whatever, if they keep it up, then there are next steps to handle with that. And I don't want to be spoken to by these people. I don't want their messages. I don't want them to look at anything that I do, post anything that I'm doing. They should just learn to stay the fuck away. It's not a good idea to fuck with me. It's really not a good idea. Okay? That's a promise. Don't fuck with me. Unless I'm doing something legitimately to hurt people, which I am not. So just stay the fuck away from me in my life. There. Is that easy? Anyway, to go back to the general things that one can do about Mean Girls, always take inventory of your emotions. Don't always react to it, because that's what they want. They want you to become disarmed when they do things that interrupt your life, whether it's temporarily or they keep trying to do it. Keep track of your emotional resources. Get the help of a therapist. Get the help of a professional or law enforcement. Count the good things that are going for you. What makes you wonderful? You draw. You take care of your animals well. You make a delicious chicken marsala. You are in school. These things, these small things, you can go out and kind of revive yourself in a way. Check out the beautiful trees, go to a lake, check out the pigeons, look at the flowers, focus on something beautiful in nature somehow, or be a part of that. Make a backyard or a rooftop garden or whatever. I mean, take inventory of yourself, of your feelings, the things that make you wonderfully you. Okay, apply self-care. Do it through therapy. Do it through remembering to take your medication on time, to go to your healthcare appointments, to research ways that you can get a free gym membership, or taking hot baths and stuff, that's important. Consult with somebody who can help you work through this, to help remind you of the emotion, your emotional stability tool case, to be able to ride this through. And always know your legal options. Always find out what the laws are around this harassment in your state. And, just appreciate who you are, because these people don't define who you are. Only you can do that. Only you know yourself. Okay. They're coming from a a position. They're low-hanging fruit. All right? They're trying to dominate you. Doesn't matter. They can be rich as fuck. They're still low-hanging fruit if they're behaving that way to hurt you. You are valuable. Doesn't matter if you're poor. Doesn't matter if you don't have the latest clothing. You are valuable because of you. And you don't let these motherfuckers overrun your life, because you have a right to exist here, to be here with the rest of us, to contribute in any way that you know how, just to be yourself. Sometimes just being yourself, that is fine. It is good. It is wonderful. And you are valued in a greater um, in a greater life experience. These low-hanging fruit have their own stuff to go through. I also refer to them as broken bottles that have refused to move on beyond their emotional um, adolescent years. That's something for them to work on. It's not your problem. It's their problem. I will tell you, I used to be. If I wasn't a broken bottle, I was on my way to that. And I was very angry and bitter many, many years ago, because I didn't see the value in my own existence. I didn't value myself. I didn't even care about myself. That's not the case now. I had to go through years of therapy. It will take me a long time to change certain ways I see about myself and my behavior, but I do see that I'm worth it. I'm not going to be a broken bottle. I'm not low-hanging fruit. Okay, I've moved on past that angry stage of my life. I'm not a hag by definition. I love people. I am pretty. I um I love my cat, but I love my best friend. I love my kids. I love my the number of friends that I have. The friends that I have who are wonderful and a wonderful addition to my life, but we give each other that love and support that we need. I don't need a fucking gang to fight my battles. I can stand on my own 2 feet with the resources I have, with the internal resources, still battling my own shit. I'm not a victim. I refuse to be a goddamn victim to low-hanging fruit. I won't tolerate it from anybody. And they just know well enough to back the fuck off.